Now, we have a domestic terrorism issue in this nation, and the leadership of this nation is not helping. And I fault the leadership. See, the problem that we have in our nation is that everybody gets one vote, no matter how ignorant you might be. I remember my brother, who is a politician. He was the mayor of Beaver Creek for 2 terms, the only black mayor, the first and probably the last of Beaver Creek for 2 terms. He told me something, even before he was mayor, because although we are politically different, it's still my brother, so we talk. And he's a very intelligent guy. And he said, an uninformed vote is worse than no vote at all. And he's a Republican, so he probably forgot he told me that back before he was all into it. But it's true, an uninformed vote is more dangerous than no vote at all. Because an uninformed vote can be cajoled, can be coerced, can be convinced to vote for something evil intentionally. Where no vote at all can't be convinced to vote for something evil, okay? And so again, the strength of this nation, but the weakness of this nation is that everyone is allowed an equal vote. And see, historically, it really hasn't been that much of a problem in this nation because most ignorant people didn't vote. And so the political game, and that's really what the political game was, just run by educated folks volleying, jockeying for power, for their own personal needs or to make a financial, growth in their life or whatever. But those guys had their agendas. They were not dumb, they were educated. Okay? But what we have today, and I think what we learned through Obama, See, the folks that, there are type folks that won't vote. Those are ignorant folks and those are apathetic folks, okay? Obama tapped into the apathetic voters, those who felt their vote really wouldn't mean anything, okay? That's why they weren't voting. Why should I? We've always had white presidents. We've always had Republican or Democrats. They're not like us. We can't, we even had a couple of movies out there, like with Chris, the first black president. And we even named Bill Clinton the first black president because pathetically, we believed that there never really would be a black president. Even though we didn't really consciously think about it, in order to name him that, we must have believed that there never could be one. He popped out on Arsenio Hall show with his sunglasses and I think it was a tenor saxophone, belted out the Pink Panther or something. And all of a sudden black people loved him. And I have nothing against Bill Clinton. I don't have anything against really these politicians. And so they tapped into the black folks with Bill Clinton. They tapped into the black folks with Obama. They weren't ignorant black folks. They were black folks that were apathetic. Now, the recent administration we have, I believe they tapped into ignorant voters. Just mad at this, mad at that. The people that weren't voting. So both administrations, the Obama administration, tapped into people and were elected by voters who historically would not vote. The apathetic voters, the black folks who, come on now. And then we have Trump who tapped into those folks, the ignorant voters who actually weren't voting for their own, and that's where he has played, okay? And so that's what we have going on right now. So in a sense, I kind of I don't really fault the politicians because they're playing a game on a different level, a more intellectual level to satisfy their power needs, their ego needs, or financial needs or whatever. And they're playing the people, the masses, like pawns to get them in their positions of power. So whether it's Obama or whether it's Trump, it's the same thing. They may have whatever their agendas were. They both wanted power. They both, who can read the mind of a man? But the bottom line, the people that were elected them were people who didn't vote, were non-voters, got them interested in voting for them. So that's what we have today. So really what we have here as politicians And I like Obama, but I got to go here, okay, for both these guys, Obama and Trump and the Bushes and Clinton and everybody back. I mean, what they do is they're wealthy people, they're educated people, and they have the potential to become much wealthier and power, okay, and with power. And what they have to do to get elected is convince the masses of us ignorant people that these guys are just like us. Okay, and they think, trust me, and they think just like us. I'm getting ready to sound like them. Trust me, I am like you, for real. I do have an MBA now that took me 10 years to acquire that I just got in March. That's my plug, just about every program. But they're not like us. But they've convinced us to vote for them. It's sort of like, you go back even in the medieval times, and every time, times from medieval times up to now, anytime there have been big wars and big conflicts between nations, who dies? The poor ignorant folks. While those guys making their decisions, like Douglas MacArthur gets to fade off, old soldiers never die, they just fade away. They get to just go off and fade away while hundreds of thousands of people have died at their command. What's up with that? We're the ones. We're being played by these guys. And sometimes they can be harmless. And you want to try to go back in our presidents. What's unfortunate for us, it is fortunate, but it's unfortunate for them, is that we have the ability with the internet to know what's going on for real. So the previous presidents we had that we might feel were in office that were harmless, like maybe Gerald R. Ford, he's kind of ex-football player, kind of tripping all the time, clumsy guy. We used to laugh at Ford. But Google East Timor, okay? East Timor was this little tiny nation, Timor-Leste is what they call it. That he and Henry Kissinger got together and authorized this faction, this governmental type faction, to come in and massacre tens of thousands of poor, defenseless, innocent citizens just so they can be in charge. I stumbled upon that when I was in school, and I was looking up something. I found there's certain classified documents in certain time they become unclassified, and I just started reading it for the heck of it. I was amazed. So these guys in power had a field day when there was no internet, but now we have the ability to fact check what they say, what they do, and if what they're pulling off is evil or not. So even when I look at Obama, I'm not a political man. As I said many times, we just needed a black man in office. But the key is, I think, when a president, our country's been in existence so long that when a president comes in, it's like when you let your kid drive your car. You don't have to fix it. Just don't break it. Okay, that's all we ask. And so a president just needs to get in there and just maintain, to keep that ship above water. Don't let it sink. And when we consider what is the ship is every American citizen in this nation. And so when half of the citizens are suffering, look at it like it is a ship. And half of the ship, this half of the ship thinks we can blow holes in that half of the ship. What's going to happen? Come on now, we need to see that. Too often we have presidents that are like snake oil salesmen. And they come into town promising everything. This elixir right here is going to solve all your problems. I'm going to solve all your problems. And then you find an enemy. Remember when Obama became president and the accusation was that he was a community organizer? And most folks, I remember Sean Hannity, community organizer, he was supposed to be an intelligent journalist, and he didn't even understand what even that phrase actually meant. He thought, man, all he did was organize communities. We got to understand sometimes that these guys that are journalists that we're taking our cues from on our particular news networks, well, guess what? They're just journalists. Remember in high school, the guys that were in journalism club? That's them, okay? But anyway, grown up, right? But the community organizer that they were talking about was a particular strategy by a gentleman called Saul Alinsky. And he wrote a book called The Rules for Radicals, which I read. It was very interesting. And the way you use his community organizing technique is to go into communities and you can find different, diverse types of people and find a common goal, something that they can all come together and agree on to attain a particular purpose, okay? And that's you, okay? So you can identify with the Polish people who are suffering like this in that community, the poor Latinos that are suffering here, the gay folks that are suffering here, these folks, those folks, black folks, brown folks, all these folks, come on, we have a common bond, and I'm your answer, okay? And as much as they criticized Obama for using Saul Alinsky's rule for radicals community organizing strategy, that is exactly what Donald Trump has done. He gone into his particular communities like the old white folks or poor white folks or these guys and those guys and solidified them using him as their answer. The same thing Obama did. The type people were a little bit different, but the same strategy. Okay? So what you have are two intelligent people. Yes, Donald Trump is intelligent. He's just not versed in governmental things, but he understands business, and he understands sales, he understands marketing, he understands human nature, he understands how to approach people and get them on his side. He's not a dumb man now. So that's what you have. Both of these guys, Trump and Obama, used a particular strategy to get folks to believe that he is just like them and identifies with. I promise you, like, I can't promise you this, but let's just use logical sense. Donald Trump is actually this millionaire or billionaire that's lived this lavish lifestyle, Trump Towers and gold and jets and all this stuff. Do you think he was really concerned with the issues that concern the issues of most of his base? Of course he wasn't. But he knew what to tell them to get them behind him. That's what he's done. And what I think, I in a sense kind of bad for Donald Trump, because this stuff is getting pretty terrible, and I don't think he intended it to be that way. I believe he was playing the political game like they all do, like they've all historically done politically, Republicans and Democrats, for the power, for the prestige, for maybe to make a buck, for whatever their reasons. But I don't think they really intended, I don't think he really intended for a lot of the fallout we see today. We just need to be wise. We need to come to a place in our lives in this nation and begin to look at the evidence, look at the results of this grand experiment that we've all been involved in, and ask ourselves, is this really right? Is this the way that it's supposed to be? I believe that there is a nature of people that is good, that is charitable, but we can be swayed, we can be moved so easy, and that is the state that we are in today in this nation. That's what I'm sharing with you today, is we need to come back together. A nation divided itself cannot stand. And we have the opportunity to make a choice. Choose this day the direction our nation will go in. Because there's a direction that is going to lead to abundance, and there's a direction that is going to lead to destruction. And right now, I'm afraid we're on that road to destruction.